it's Melanie. Happy Thursday. First off, I just want to say, if you notice any white powder on me, I just had to use some dry shampoo in my hair and it kind of got everywhere. I used one of those like actual powder dry shampoos where you shake it out. And yeah, I think it's probably everywhere. So if you notice the white substance, it's not drugs, it's dry shampoo. So today's video is my 1 year update of intermittent fasting. So it's crazy to think that I started this last May, but I did. I started at the beginning of May and I've been doing it for a year. I obviously did have a little bit of a hiccup during January and February. That was a really stressful time for me with us selling our house, buying this house, moving, everything that came along with that definitely threw me off track. And the biggest thing that I noticed is that I felt like crap. Once I stopped doing the intermittent fasting super regularly, by the way, I've been doing the 16-8 or lean gains method this entire time. Once I stopped doing that regularly, I really reverted very quickly back to how I felt before I started the intermittent fasting, which was very sluggish, didn't have a lot of energy, didn't have a lot of motivation, didn't have a ton of focus. And I will say that my focus has definitely improved on the intermittent fasting, but not as drastically as I think it does for some people. I'm nowhere near back to where I was before I had a kid. I feel like my daughter took so many of my brain cells and so much of my ability to not run around like a chicken with my head cut off and constantly forgetting things. And I think it's just, I have like a severe case of mom brain, but the intermittent fasting did sort of help bring back a little sense of normalcy when it comes to that kind of stuff. And I really missed that when I took my little hiatus. And really, I was still doing intermittent fasting a good chunk of the week, but it wasn't consistent. And there were a lot of days where I would break my fast by 10. So I was breaking my fast 2 hours early, which, I mean, I was still, getting a good chunk of time where my body was having the opportunity to digest the food from the night before. One thing that I always remained pretty rigid about was cutting off my eating by 8 p.m. It was just when I started the next morning, I started getting hungrier earlier and earlier. And I think that was just a lot related to stress and just that things were so up in the air for so long. And, our living situation kind of sucked for a little bit. So anyway, I'm sure there are those that will view that lapse in intermittent fasting as just me being lazy or me not being accountable, and that could very well be it. But for me, I just found myself struggling to stay on track. Now, ever since being in the new house, we moved in here at the beginning of April, so it's been just about a month now. I found it very easy for me to go back to the intermittent fasting. So for the last month, I am happy to report that I am back to at least 6 days a week with like solid intermittent fasting of like the lean gains, so the 16-8 split. On Sundays, I have been breaking my fast just a little bit early so that I can do breakfast burritos with my family. That's kind of our tradition on Sundays. There's this restaurant that makes these amazing breakfast burritos that we pick up and bring home, and that's our Sunday tradition. So I'll typically leave for the restaurant around 10:30 or 11, and then I'll get home by around 11 or 11:30. And so I am breaking my fast just a little bit early on those days, but it's not like we're having breakfast burritos at like 8 or even 9 in the morning. It's usually 10:30, 11, 11:30, somewhere around there. So still intermittent fasting to some degree, but not the normal amount that I do during the week. So Still cutting off my eating at 8 o'clock at night, so no calories in after that. And typically I actually am done with dinner by 7:30. So I do, but I don't count that like extra half hour. It's just kind of like, oh yeah, it's a little bit of a bonus, And I love going to bed without feeling insanely full. Craig and I will typically head up to bed around 10:30, and then we'll watch one of our TV shows and it's lights out after that. So I am still moving around quite a bit after my cutoff point, doing dishes, getting Stella ready for bed. I run around quite a bit, folding laundry, just doing stuff. So I'm moving during that time, and it allows me to kind of like get the food digested just a little bit before I go and lay in bed, which is kind of nice. So, and then I've been breaking my fast around 11:30 or noon, basically almost every single day. There were a couple days where I broke the fast at 11, but again, I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy strict about it. I know that there are some people that are very hardcore. I give myself a little bit of flexibility just because it works, and I find that I'm getting the benefits back from the intermittent fasting that I was getting in the first place when I was doing it much more regularly. So my gut is in a much better state now. I don't deal with an upset tummy or the bloating nearly as much as I used to. I feel, again, that mental clarity, the energy. I just have a lot more energy when I'm doing this. With the intermittent fasting, I have more of a commitment to working out. So I have started going back to the gym much more regularly. I'm not back to 6-7 days a week, which is what I was doing before we started the house selling and house buying process. But I am back to at least 5 days a week. That's kind of my minimum, is 5 days a week. I'd like to up it back up to 6 days a week by the end of May, beginning of June. So I'll work on that. But overall, I'm feeling much better again. I didn't find that it was terribly difficult to get back into it after being off of it for a while. It's a little bit of a challenge, but nothing nearly as drastic as when I first started it, because I think I knew what to expect in terms of those hunger pangs at 10, 11 in the morning, but I'm finding it easier to fight through that. Now, I will admit to still putting just a tiny bit of almond milk in my coffee each morning. I just like it that way. I do use the Khalifa coconut almond milk, which is, I think it's like 40 calories for 8 ounces. And I literally just put in a splash. So it's probably less than 10 calories. It just mellows out that coffee a little bit for me and makes it more enjoyable. And I don't mind that. To me, it's not breaking the fast for me, but I can see where other people who are much more strict about it would be like, you can't do that. If that is your view, then don't do that. I'm still noticing great benefits. The weight that I had gained being off, because I did gain at least a couple pounds, is now gone again. I am back down. I did weigh myself. I have not been weighing myself throughout most of this process because I get obsessive about that. And I didn't want to be that way. But when we first did move into this house at the beginning of April, I unpacked my scale and I was like, I wonder what this says. And I got on and I was like, oh yeah, I felt a little bit heavier, and it sort of confirmed it to me, because a few months ago I had weighed myself and I'd gotten down to a certain point and I was like, oh yeah, this is good. I like this, But I haven't been weighing myself because I don't view this as like intermittent fasting needs, I need it to lose like 20 pounds. I don't care about the number. I care about the way that I feel more than anything. And I know this drives a lot of you nuts who have been following my journey, because I'm not giving you specific numbers because I just don't have them. I am telling you guys, feelings and like the way that things look to me in the mirror. So that is my feedback to you guys, is I'm feeling great and I'm looking better. Clothes they just look better on me because they hang nicer. I don't have the extra lumps and bumps in places. It has definitely helped me with some fat loss. And getting back into lifting and weight training has additionally helped me like lean out a little bit more again. And yeah, I'm super happy. I I don't have any before and after pictures to share with you guys from when I started this last year versus now, because I didn't take any before pictures. I didn't want this to be something where I would come here and be like, look at this drastic before and after. Isn't this magical? Like, everyone should do this. And like, I didn't want this to be that. It was just me wanting to share this journey and how I felt about it, versus like pushing something on you guys, because it isn't right for everybody. You might want to check with your physician first. If you have any underlying health issues, intermittent fasting may not be a good fit for you. So just talk to a doctor if you have any questions about it. If it's not something that you can do because you don't like not eating first thing in the morning, then this isn't right for you. I didn't necessarily need breakfast, so it was fine for me to cut it out. And it also allowed me to cut out a ton of calories that I used to force myself to consume in the morning, because I always had this mentality of like, the most important meal of the day is breakfast. It can be, if you need it, have some breakfast. You don't even necessarily have to fast during the time frame that I fast. Like, if you'd rather, eat in the morning and into the early afternoon and then cut yourself off early afternoon until the following morning, then do that. It's whatever works for you, whatever works for your eating patterns, your schedule, your whatever. It's totally up to you. For me, I didn't necessarily felt like I needed breakfast, and I definitely didn't need my mid-morning snack, which I had every single day. So it was easy to cut that stuff out. In terms of food choices, I'm back to making much healthier food choices. I'm able to cook at home. We have this really nice new kitchen now, and I'm more inspired to prepare meals at home. We do still eat out from time to time, but it's not like super regular. We were for a while eating out quite a bit because we had so much of our home packed up when we were selling and buying this place. So, yeah, I feel like everything is just leveled out for me, and I feel like now I'm ready to go. Like during the summer, fall, winter, whatever season comes up, all the seasons, I'm gonna be able to continue this, and I will continue to do monthly updates in case something comes up. I just like sharing the update, and it's kind of become like habit for me to do these videos. So any challenges that come up, maybe I'll start sharing some of like my favorite foods to eat when I break the fast. I will never do a what I eat in my day video, because I am not the example that you should follow for food intake necessarily. I eat a lot of fresh, like whole foods, but I also eat packaged foods because I like things that are easy. I love Trader Joe's because that's great for a simple meal that I can very quickly put together. But I'll just share like a few snacks and things like that periodically with you guys. So yeah, I'll do that going forward. So hopefully you guys will continue to follow along. Let me know if you have any questions down below in the comments. Let me know if you've been doing this little journey with me, what your results have been, if you've stuck with it throughout the last year. If you want to continue it going forward, if you just think it's a trend or a fad. It's just become a lifestyle change for me at this point, and it's been working great. So I want to know what your guys' experience was as well. So let me know down below in the comments. I will link all of my previous updates in the description box of this video. So if you want to go back to the very first update or somewhere in between, like the 6-month mark, I will have all those videos linked down below for you. Anyway, thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch. Thank you for following along on this journey with me, and I will see you in my next video. Take care. Bye.